team. And we've informed you all. We've met with some of our other referral sources and reviewed with them. And what are we going to do? What does this mean? So we're going to continue to educate, on the guidance as it continues to update. We're going to continue to do what we do and support American businesses, related to ERC, and provide the vital support that they need because they've been impacted by the pandemic. So, for us, it's business as usual. We've always had those ethical, and transparent processes. We'll continue to do that. There's nothing we've learned other than they have some fraud. They also have a backlog, and they're going to be using this time to go through that backlog. And again, that's our opinion on it. I would say one final thing, Mike, and then we can maybe open it up for questions. As per our standard policy, and again, we've been around since 2009, right? We are not an ERC pop-up, never were. ERC is one of the programs we offer. But we've always assisted clients who consider withdrawal. So the IRS highlighted this and said, if folks want to, withdraw, they can do so now. We're also supportive of this. If a client wants to withdraw from the program, we will help them and assist them at zero cost to them and educate them on their options. So we never push the program. We only share and educate and help folks understand their eligibility. So for me, those are kind of like the three things, Mike, that I wanted to share with the team. And again, happy to answer any questions. The IRS also, they said shut down, but it is not a shutdown per se. I think that could, again, scare folks. This is a delay. They are still accepting eligible companies to qualify. They're still accepting them. They're just delaying the processing by up to 90 days, right? And when you think about it, the time delay for processing is within that margin of error anyway. I think this is just their statement that they're trying to crack down on fraudsters, which again, we support. So, Mike, I hope that was helpful. Happy to take any questions from the team. I'm not going anywhere. Those are the areas that I wanted to, to bring up and share with the team today.
Mike, you couldn't have said it any better, Mike. I think we're all on the same page here. I think the best part we do is that we're open and we talk to our referral partners about what we know, right? And we're always communicating to the group what's going on so that we're all on the same page. So I appreciate you finding time to come on with everything going on your busy schedule to talk to everybody, because when you talk, I listen, and I hope people will listen to you because you're a great, smart guy. Thank you.
And let's for a moment just dial this back, because maybe not everybody on the call, I see we have almost 400 people here today, exactly know what we're talking about. But effectively, the IRS has paused processing of new claims, right? That's basically what has happened until basically the turn of the year in 2024. There's a backlog of some number like 600,000 submissions that they still need to process. And they did see an uptick of fraud, not from bottom line, not from anything that we're doing, fraud like things like, fake identification numbers or doctoring of payroll documents, things that are really fraud. And they want to take a moment to catch up, kind of reorganize, and be able to, maybe weed out some of that fraud before they were just going ahead and processing. Right. So Mike used words like business as usual. So yeah, bottom line, business as usual. We are still 100% welcoming and pushing for as many referrals as possible for ERC, because a business that is eligible and can qualify should go through the process and should be able to get the stimulus that they are entitled to. Right. So from our end, and again, lots of questions on there, and we're going to get to them in a second. From our end, nothing has changed. We have been stressing, nonstop about that we work with qualified leads, that we get on the phone for these calls, that we listen to our clients for them to tell us how they were impacted and show them a path to qualification. So, we are ready to move forward and excited about new referrals. As far as past submissions, there's been no guidance that anything changes as far as all the referrals you've made that have been submitted to the IRS. So we don't have any expectation of anything changing on that front. And I think the best thing for us to do is to get right to questions and answers. And then we can spend a little bit of time once we get through these and talk a little bit more about, just kind of summarizing everything that we talked about today, and then maybe touching on a little more education as well. So I think we should
Hold on. Mike, before you start the questions,
Sure.
Mike M, so I'm looking at a lot of the questions in the group. There's a lot that I can answer, but the ones that I want you to answer, do you have the full time or do you have to go?
I have the full time. I'm here, not
Okay,
going
perfect.
anywhere.
Okay, perfect. So then, let's just go, there's some good questions here. I understand. So after reading how they need another 90 to 180 days, I understand this means that any deals moving forward would not be paid out until at least halfway through next year. Is this correct? The answer to that is, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, nobody knows, right? Because they're saying this is going to go to a 90, 180 day process. So if people start submitting in January, right, they'll get paid out by the middle of the year, because that'll be 6 months. But again, nobody knows. They might do files in 3 months. Right now we are still submitting and our business as usual, meaning we're taking them through our normal process. And once we're through the process and give them the number, we send them the 941s. We are still sending those 941s to the IRS. And unless they come out with some other notice, we're doing the same process that Bottom Line has done up until this point. Now, when the IRS gets those notices, I personally, Mike, maybe you do know what they're doing with it. Is it staying in the envelope? Are they logging them in? Those are the things.
I don't think we know. I don't think we know that yet, Jason. I would say that what we do know is that they, if you think about this, anything that comes in now will be the top of the stack for when they actually go to thing. And the second thing they're doing is they're trying to weed out fraudsters at the same time, which we completely support. But if you think about it, if we're submitting things right now on our client behalf, right, and in the same way we have done, there will just be a slight delay. But we know that processing time is, let's think about this. Processing time is anywhere from 4 to 10 months, right? What we're saying is anything that comes in isn't going to be looked at until
Mike, we lost you. While we wait for Mike to come back, I'd like to share one thing that I think is important. There's two types of quote unquote fraud that could be played. Number one is fake documents. But I think another big thing that they're after here, and I've always said on Zooms if people were on it, is there's a reason why there were different audit times through Q2 of 21 and Q3 of 21. And one thing that I'm very proud of at Bottom Line is if you have access to see any of your files of your clients, I will tell you less than 1% of clients received Q3 of 21. And that was because we believe that's not what the program was intended for. And I think that's one of the things they're trying to look into is, okay, we send these people all this money, they spend it, how are we getting it back? Right? Let's break this down to common sense. So at least by having some checks and balances in place of how we're taking companies through the process, instead of just sending people money and asking questions later, they'll be able to ask questions up front. And again, I am 100% for this personally. I used to say to people all the time, the amount of business we could have done if we did Q3. Because remember, Q3, you're getting the full amount. There's nothing in the way from you maximizing the entire 70% of the first 10,000 they make. So again, it just shows other things that we did a long time ago. And that's why we're still here today and doing business as usual. You will hear of layoffs in the industry. And I'm not talking about one or two people. You will
Hey,
hear
Jason.
about.
Hey, Jason, it's Mike joining back. My apologies. not
No
a good
worries.
time for Zoom to update. So please let me know. That's super weird. Please let me know if anything came in while I was.
No, you're good, Mike. You're good.
You're
I
doing
just waited for you. We just went on to another subject, but we'll get back to you in 1 second. So, you will hear things out there. Again, human nature is what's going on, but I promise you, if things get in any direction a little out of control, you will hear from Bottom Line, because one thing that we do is we lean in, right? And you have been great to us, and we want to continue that relationship, because we're not only here for today, tomorrow, ERC, but we want you to be our partners no matter what other products we bring to the table. So just know that we are going to be upfront communicating with you guys throughout everything.
So Jason, on that topic, just for a second, and there's questions coming in. Feel free to just tell me what they are, and we could tag team them as a team. What the answers might be. But on that topic of layoffs in the industry, stuff like that, the only thing I'll say about that is, we were here before ERC, and we will be here after ERC. Our company was founded in 2009. Our core business is still alive. We still do the work in our core business, whether it be, utility tax credits, work opportunity tax credits. Some of that is very bespoke kind of service that we provide to some Fortune, 100 customers. So I would say that, ERC was a great opportunity, and we leaned in, as Jason mentioned, on the opportunity to help support American small business. And then to that end, the other thing we're doing, and we're investigating several potential other opportunities for us to bring to our network and help educate you, to help educate the American consumer and the American small business. And we're doing that because we're continuing to create a portfolio of opportunities to help small business. And that is how we will likely launch our first new solution between now and the end of the year, early first quarter 24. And we will make sure that you all understand what's coming, have access to it, and that to be part of that journey with us. But again, as I said, when the IRS comes out with a statement, they're trying to shut down some of these pop-ups. Again, we support that, but we are not a pop-up. Again, we started in 2009. We've been around, and we're going to continue to evolve the business. And we have new programs coming out within a quarter or two.
Awesome.
All right. So Kimberly,
Jay,
can you
Jay,
ask before? Kimberly Keene has an interesting question here. Can you answer if Bottom Line has experience aware of referrals being denied and IRS requesting the client to pay back the monies? So right now, Kimberly, the payback of monies would come if the IRS sends a notice asking for more information and they deem that certain quarters received, they should not have because there was not impact, right? So at this current time, I personally do not know of any clients that have been asked for their money back. The only denials I have seen, and I don't know if I'd call it a denial, is if a client submits a 941X, the IRS says they do not have the 941 on file, and therefore they can't process the claim because there was no 941 on file to begin with. But you guys can pick up the questions. I don't know where you guys are. I'm just skimming through.
I think we're right around about 12, 13, 12, 14. But I wanted to clarify something that Jason said before. We talked about that third quarter of 21. The IRS has up to 5 years to audit that quarter, different from the rest of the quarters. They have 3 years, right? And what Jason was saying before was that, we took a stance that really the only way a client should qualify for third quarter is on a revenue decrease because most of the government orders were released by then. We've done nothing but make continuous adjustments, listening to all IRS guidance to make sure that we're moving forward with qualified leads, and what makes us stand out. And those marketing that you see out there, different from what we do, qualify in 5 minutes. That's the aggressive tactics that some firms were taking. We'll pre-fund you in 3 days. Those were very aggressive tactics and really caught the eye of the IRS, right? So again, just wanted to clarify that. But let's jump into some questions here. BLC should add a video of testimonials verified on the BLC website. So we have lots and lots and lots and lots, hundreds at this point of testimonials. They are on the resource center, and we're working on a new project there of kind of segmenting out by industry, but the testimonials are there for you to use and be able to share with prospective clients. That's what they're there for.
I would say, I would say, Michael, in addition to the testimonials, you'll see some refreshed content and continue to evolve content through our BLC Academy. We're going to be also including the videos that are on our website. I hope you all enjoy those new educational videos around what is ERC, how do you, what are the eligibility criteria. We've got a ton of new videos coming on. We've got some more FAQ videos coming on that can aid you in educating those American small businesses. So we'll continue to refresh that data. We'll likely have 2 new FAQ videos on the website in the next couple of days.
Awesome. Yeah. And
Let me
we'll
go for a second, Mike, what, real quickly, guys, because I see a couple in chats in here. So for those that don't know Mike Mentasana has been behind the scenes at Bottom Line since day one. When I say day one of them, before the employee retention credit. So he's been with us since 2021, but he's been friends with Josh and Paul for 15 years. And I've given him the title of, besides Chief Everything, Chief Strategy Officer. And I can't tell you how fortunate I am to get to work with Mike every day. And Mike is someone that is very well respected and only does things on the up and up. So I'm sorry he didn't get a chance to introduce himself. It takes about 15 minutes to do his intro. So just Mike's a very important part of our leadership group.
And Mike was referring to, all of the changes and the additions and the improvements we've made to the resource center. And he's really one of the major parts and driving forces of all this new education. And we have newer videos that we're going to upload onto the resource center as well. And we always push you guys. We'll show you that towards the end as we kind of come down here. Does Bottom Line have a communication we can share with businesses explaining the situation, what and why, and can they proceed to trust Bottom Line? So one, again, a lot of people may not even know about this. A lot of clients may not know about this. Ultimately, if it comes up in conversation, you're still driving them to a call with the advisor, because the advisor is going to let them know if they have concerns about this. They're going to really work with them to understand exactly what's going on. Right. So again, nothing's really changed on the process. So if they have concerns about that, that's just another reason to drive them towards this call with the advisor that, will be anywhere between 15 and 30 minutes so we can address any of their concerns. But I think you'll find that, because we're referral partners, all of us, we know, we heard about this and we have concern, but a lot of clients out there may not know about this.
But Michael, on that one, I wouldn't shy away from it. Like we have informed all of you. We have informed our entire team. We have had reviews of the program policies with our attorneys and making sure we're reading everything correctly, because we want to follow the new guidelines, the letters of law, and how they're indicating, why they're doing things and what's happening. So we can absolutely, come up with some talking points that if you think would be helpful. But ultimately, there's a couple of questions that popped in around, should I halt my marketing? You should do whatever you feel is appropriate. But if you're marketing in the way that we would advise around educating folks on the program and the eligibility criteria, you should feel comfortable continuing to do that. The IRS has not said that they're shutting down the program. What they've said is we're shutting it down for a period of time so we can get through our backlog and stop some of the fraudsters. Which, if you read the announcement, that's what it says. And again, we support that. So I would say that ultimately you are an independent referral source of ours, and we wouldn't be here without you. But we also want to make sure that you do what you feel is appropriate for your business. So we would never, push anyone to continue something if they're not comfortable with it. But we, as Bottom Line, are very comfortable with what we've done, how we do it, and we continue to.
And to add on to that, most of you received the newsletter. If you didn't, reach out to RP at Bottom Line Savings. There was a short response. And of course, we will add, just like we have the other IRS warnings, we're going to add a literature for you on the resource center. Obviously, this is very fresh, but it's a very simple, direct statement that we applaud the IRS's efforts to weed out the fraud and weed out these pop-ups, and that we are here for our clients to make them understand how they can qualify if in fact they do qualify. There was a question, I think we answered it before. What if quarter 3 of 2021 had the revenue reduction? Absolutely, they can qualify. And in fact, there actually is a rollover. If you qualify in quarter 2 on a revenue reduction of 2021, you will qualify for that quarter 3 of 2021. Can I join the ERC referral partner as a Canadian citizen? Yes, you can. We talked about quarter 3 already.
Well, I would say yes, you can. However, the program is only for eligible U.S. businesses.
Right, exactly. You could be a referral partner, and it's important that you follow our marketing policies if you're doing this in some sort of cold outreach. But again, right, any business that has a U.S. federal identification number could possibly qualify if they meet the 2 qualifiers. Just scrolling down here. Just reading.
And Mike, while you're reading, I'll just say something else. These things can be scary, right? The IRS does things and they don't put things out if it hasn't been reviewed internally and thought through. The rationale is we should be looking at when they issued their clarification on guidance for supply chain disruption, and I think that was roughly about 4 to 6 weeks ago, give or take a week here and there. I forget exact, but within that time frame, these are important things. This program was super critical to support companies, help with getting out of the impact of COVID. So they're continuing to refine their guidelines. So what do we do as a company? We lean in, as Jason mentioned. We review those guidelines. And the good news on that one, it's on the Resource Center. We then put a new Resource Center, one pager on there for the Academy. And we help educate folks on what that guidance means. The same thing we're doing here. And likely there'll be more that come out, right? As they continue to evolve their understanding of the program and how it gets administered, and just, you'll always get that from us.
Absolutely. Bryce, what happens if the moratorium lasts later into next year? At this point, I think it's hard to answer hypotheticals, right? This just happened. We believe that the IRS will have no choice but to start processing at the beginning of the year. Remember, there's a natural deadline for 2020 coming in April 15th of 2020, but nothing changes from the perspective of as many referrals, qualified referrals as possible, bring them to us. We can absolutely submit to the IRS. And when they're ready, they'll have some sort of queue and they'll start going through those processing. People are asking about, I think Mike talked about it, any other, products that we have that are coming out, give us, 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 months, and we will launch that in the right way so that we can educate you properly and make sure everyone knows about any new products we have. Has the IRS considered how this delay will impact small business that are still hurting? Listen, it's a good question. Ultimately, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike or Jay, the IRS processes these ERC submissions. It is the legislation, Congress that enacted this. This is a program that is still very much alive. The IRS just had the ability to say, hold on a second, we're a little overwhelmed. We have a backlog. We're seeing some things we don't like, and we want to be able to reassess and do this the right way so we can move forward in the right way.
Yeah, so Michael, I'll just add a point to that. I'm like, the IRS has done this before, right? They have done short shutdowns before in processing when backlog got too great. I think they did it about a year ago or 6 months ago, something like that. In the last 2 quarters or 3 quarters, they've done it. So this is not uncharted territory for them. I think the way that they've issued it and the way that they've heightened it regarding these quote unquote pop-ups, which again, we applaud and agree with, that's a bit new, right? So I think that, they're calculative when they do this. They do things in a good way, and they do things for a reason. So again, the one concern we had, as I mentioned earlier, from the leadership of the company, like we are concerned that some people may be adversely impacted because there are some companies that don't know about it. They're learning about it, and if they are eligible, they may apply for it, and they need help doing that. So that is the one concern we have. But we have to assume that they did a bit of a trade-off on announcing this versus impact versus what they're seeing in terms of volume and potential fraud. So I think they did it with the best of intentions. And I think it was the right thing to do, obviously, for them. And we hope it doesn't impact small businesses. But that's why we are specifically focused on keeping our core message out there, keeping our marketing plans up, continuing to work with our partners like yourselves. So that's why we're steadfast in our mission to educate small businesses and help them reinvest. So I think as long as we stay steadfast in our mission, we will help minimize that. And in the worst case scenario, some of these companies, might have a delay in receiving their eligible refunds. So for us, while that is a challenge, our hope is that's the worst case scenario. But we're steadfast on our mission.
Thanks, Mike. Just reading more questions. You got lots of them today, so it takes us a moment to get through everything here. And obviously some of you who are, investing and marketing and spending dollars on this, we understand your concern. Again, qualified leads will end up with commissions. We understand that there might be a slight delay on that. But we're at the end of September, going into October. Time will move quickly. And let's go over to questions and answers here.
Yep. Let's see here. Was the filing deadline extended due to the pause?
No, the filing deadlines will remain the same, April 15th of 2024 for quarters of 2020 and April 15th of 25 for filings in 2021. Were you going to keep going?
Yeah. What can we tell clients regards to the notice that came out from the IRS?
Yo, Mike, I got a question for you. We have an internal memo that we've shared with certain people. I mean, if people need
The answer is yes. The answer is yes, Jason. I think that, as I like to refer to him, Dr. Glick highlighted the fact that, we have an announcement that was sent out as part of the newsletter. I would start there. But if folks need some more talking points and details, we are absolutely comfortable with you forwarding our internal memo to our team, to anyone that requires it, needs it, anyone on this call. Not a problem. We don't hide behind communications. We are completely transparent as an organization. So I think we gave folks a shorter version of that today in the newsletter, and we should maybe start there. But absolutely happy for you to share our internal memo that Paul sent out to the organization a couple of days ago. It's not a problem to share it. We're completely transparent.
And Mike, we'll work together on getting something up on the resource center so that they have it at their disposal.
Sure, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Okay. Fortunately, there's some natural questions that are coming up here about, okay, we got it. Let's show us some more stuff. How do we submit subs? How do we put in deals? Where's this information? So please continue to add your questions in, and we'll go through it, and then we'll kind of navigate through the resource center a little bit. I don't know where you were, Alejandro. Were you at a certain point on Q&A?
No, we've kind of just been bouncing.
Got it. Okay. Let's while we're doing it, and Mike, we don't want to keep you too long. Are there any other questions anybody has for Mike specifically, or anything that we haven't answered to this point? I think we're pretty clear that it is business as usual, that we are welcoming referrals, that yes, there's been a pause here on the new processing, but nothing changed from all of your processes and all of your efforts. Nothing really changes.
I would just add one thing, Mike. It's BAU for sure, with the caveat that we always want to focus on eligibility criteria, each company's unique facts and circumstances, and get them to BLC so we can actually do those fact and circumstance reviews and checks and educate them. And just so you all are aware, I'm like, we don't take every customer. There's a comment in here about some big ERC company says something about us. I don't know what someone says. I can't speak to that. What I can tell you is that we're not an ERC company. We're a financial consulting firm that works, across several different programs to help American businesses, small and large. The ERC program is one that we've, worked on for the last couple of years, and one that you guys are aware of. We have more coming. But as long as the companies are eligible and we're educating them on their eligibility, and they believe they're eligible and they provide the right facts and circumstances, we will then help them guide through the process. So as BAU for sure, but we still have our focus on, quality and compliance, transparency, and that's what we do. So I agree. I just wanted to just continue to double down on our approach
Mike-
and our mission.
No, hold on, guys. I want to take this question head on here. Someone
Yeah.
put in there, a big ERC company. I don't know who RP is. I would love for you to know who you are, but big ERC company that's a competitor said that BLC is not compliant and making the clients sign that they said they were impacted by the pandemic. To me, it's the attestation. And this is very important because what we're saying is, unless a client fully understands and believes that they were impacted and affected due to these government orders, we believe that we should not submit your 941Xs to the IRS unless you understand every which way that you believe you were impacted. We did not know these businesses in 2019. Our job is to inform, educate, brainstorm, and help them through the process. Our job is not to make the final decision of whether or not they qualify. So whomever is saying this, sounds to me, will give the benefit of the doubt that just there's a miscommunication, but this is very important in our process and should never be changed.
I want to bring one, and while Mike's still with us as well, what is your response to some of the media specifically pointing a finger at Bottom Line, right? And I think there are two different things that were going on here. One, there was some media attention towards, referral partner programs in general, where there's this big push and this big marketing push and this aggressive push for people to make money on this program. But again, Bottom Line, some of the other companies were mentioned. Again, we have done nothing but since the beginning of time try to educate anybody who comes into our world, into one of these meetings with an advisor. So again, yes, there is this slightly negative connotation that has kind of existed around the fact that, remember, lots of businesses didn't know about this program. The IRS did not do the greatest job in making sure that business knew about this program. And these referral partner programs did come, and we were able to help a tremendous amount of businesses. But it went really big, really fast. The growth was really big, and it kind of bred all of these new pop-ups companies. And Bottom Line was one of the only companies to fully be completely transparent with any media requests and make sure they understand exactly what our mission was. So we can't control the media, but again, we are so confident in our processes and our ability to work with our clients, and the fact that we stand out differently from these other firms that focus only on ERC. I don't know if you wanted to add.
Well, I could always add, Mike, but that's well said. Someone put something in here about Josh. I just want to put something out about Josh. Josh is doing great. He's been really focused on a lot of his activities, specifically around his philanthropic things that he's always done, animal rights. And today, he and the team are doing an event where they're providing food for homeless folks in the Miami area, I believe. I could be wrong there, but he's doing a charity event today. That's why he's on this call today.
People are asking about deals that are in the system, and we're under the impression that the deals that were in prior to, I think it was September 14th, that they are still processing them. Could it slow it down a month or so? Yes, but it's not like those are being stopped. In fact, part of what they're doing over the next couple of months is cleaning up the backlog.
Yeah, again, Jason, it was super clear. If you read their notice, it was super clear. Again, we even though it was clear, we always have counsel take a look at things, make sure they're read properly, make sure we understand the guidance that continues to come out and adapt to it. But they were super clear between whenever it was submitted until September 14th. Anything up to that date will continue to move as it has moved, with a potential slight delay. And they said the typical time was 90 days. That's going to 120 days. And as I said earlier, as I shared earlier, they're saying it went from 3 months to 6 months. And what we've been again seeing is a 4 to 10 month average cycle anyway. So it's within those boundary conditions. So we don't see much of a change there. To Jason's point, you may have some slight delay while they get through the backlog. And then anything that comes in post September 14th will get put into queue and will be addressed in early 2024. And they said January, early 2024. So I think that's all it is. But again, we support their push on fly-by-nighters.
Yep. There are some questions about, how do we assure, Sandra, thank you. How do you reassure companies concerned about the moratorium? So there's two ways of looking at that. Maybe existing clients that, have submitted and maybe they have some concerns and they were a little apprehensive, maybe, even to move forward beforehand. Again, if anybody that you're speaking to needs to talk to one of us, I'm happy, Jason's happy to always connect one-on-one with a current client. But as far as the new clients coming in, that's the purpose of the call. If they have concerns, we'll go over those, any of those concerns that they have. But the first and the biggest thing that we have to talk to them about is tell us about your business, tell us about your revenue decreases, and tell us about your impact so we can understand, first of all, if you're a good path to qualification, so we can move you forward. And then we'll address any concerns they have about the moratorium or the pause, as we call it. Just seeing if there's anything else. So I think we've talked at length here. I think we all understand, right? You can reach me specifically. It's always dangerous to say it with all the participants. Michael at bottomlinesavings.com. Happy to talk to you, offline to answer any concerns. Alejandro and I do Zooms 6 times a week. That opens it up to questions. We've seen a few questions come in. We love to have more of you on those Zooms so we can generate more Q&A and really answer any of your concerns. But I think we should take just the next moment just to kind of, Alejandro, let's do some of our normal stuff. Let some more questions come up. Let's just bring up that resource center and let's show them a couple of things and then we can see if there's any other questions that we can finish on. So let's just bring up the resource center for a moment. Right, so scroll down just a little bit. And we just, again, all these videos right here under marketing, what is ERC, determining your business eligibility, interaction with PPP. Mike's about to add a couple of more frequently asked questions videos that we're excited about. Somebody asked before about how do we introduce sub-referral partners. Let's click on that one, the referral partner introduction form. Right, this is a very simple process. Your name, your last name, your email, and their information. Please make sure they're aware that you're signing them up for the program. Please explain to them they're going to receive some welcome emails, and please encourage them to join an onboarding Zoom so they can understand exactly what this program is all about, considering that there could be some confusion with all of the information that's out there, right? So let's come back out of that. And let's obviously just show them that those referral training Zooms, right? Obviously the Wednesday Zoom is right up top. And you guys usually have an invitation to that, but those are the Zooms right there that you guys can join at any time. We handle 6 a week, and we really want more of you on those calls. Let's come out of that, and let's go down to BLC Academy. So, we'll continue to add more educational documents, and I think now more than ever, the BLC overview is the most relevant document or link that you can send to a client. And let's just click that open. And we're going to keep sending this to you in newsletters and keep sending you this information. But we want people to understand and go down a little bit further to show the evolution of our company that will continue for many, many, many years to come. And then going down to all of the tax programs that we have been working on through our inception that will only continue, right? So,
and Michael, on
yes.
this, it might be helpful. Go back to one slide, Alejandro. So this pretty much shows the major programs that were launched in those specific years, right? And I mentioned this earlier, sales and use tax was the first service that Josh launched. 2011, we did unclaimed property, and then, R&D tax credits, and just keep going. And in 2021, we launched, the employee retention, credit service. As you go down right underneath that page, you see a note. There's other programs that we've launched and or still have active. Again, they're more nuanced, but there are other things we're bringing that are different coming up. But just to show you these are just the major ones we launched in those years, and those are still ongoing.
Awesome, thanks, Mike. So come back out of this, Alejandro, and we don't need to go into each of the BLC Academy docs, but just something like income tax. One of the things that the IRS really focused on, especially in their prior warnings, is that ERC firms, not bottom line, were not informing clients that this would create a possible tax event, right? And this was something they were very concerned about, that businesses would get this money, spend all of the money, and not realize that there was going to be tax ramifications of the ERC refund. So that was just another one. Let's scroll down. IRS in general, obviously now has listed a lot of new guidance on their site. So definitely take a look at that so you can see what they're saying directly. And then scroll down a little bit more, just so they can see, the big one is my accountant said I don't qualify. We know that this is one of the major rebuttals. We know that even more now than ever, accountants might be telling people they absolutely don't qualify, don't do this, you're going to get audited. But again, it doesn't mean that a client shouldn't have a call with one of our advisors to understand how to make a decision for themselves and weigh whether they believe they can qualify after an intelligent conversation. Let's scroll down. We will add the response to this warning. Just go back up a little bit. We've listed all of the IRS warnings. We will add this warning coming in. I think someone asked, can we see the actual verbiage? We'll add this in, and we'll also add our response to it as well. So scroll down, and then frequently asked questions, all updated. Scroll all the way down, testimonials, and then we can stop there and then take a last few questions. So if you haven't noticed, and look at that scroll bar on the bottom, scroll down a tiny bit more for me, Alejandro. Like those little dots are getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller because we keep getting more and more and more testimonials. They're a little difficult to navigate through because there's so many at this point, and we'll advise when we maybe be able to share this in a different way, maybe by industry, to make it easier when you're speaking to a specific industry so you can see it. So let's come out of this and let's just see if we have any remaining questions before we sign off. Big week. We're excited to get back to work, and we're fielding